Mozilla Firefox is a free and open-source web browser developed by the Mozilla Foundation and its subsidiary, the Mozilla Corporation. Firefox is available for Windows, OS X and Linux operating systems, with its mobile versions available for Android, and Firefox OS, where all of these versions use the Gecko layout engine to render web pages, which implements current and anticipated web standards. But an additional version released in late 2015, Firefox for iOS, has also been made available, that doesn't use Gecko. Firefox was created in 2002, under the name of Phoenix, by the Mozilla community members who wanted a standalone browser rather than the Mozilla Application Suite bundle. Even during its beta phase, Firefox proved to be popular by its testers and was praised for its speed, security and add-ons compared to Microsoft's then-dominant Internet Explorer 6. Firefox was released in November 2004, and was highly successful with 60 million downloads within 9 months, which was the first time that Internet Explorer's dominance was challenged. Firefox is considered the spiritual successor of Netscape Navigator, as the Mozilla community was created by Netscape in 1998 before their acquisition by AOL. As of October 2015 update, Firefox has between 11.28% and 16.95% of worldwide usage as a desktop browser, making it the second most popular web browser. Firefox is the most popular desktop browser in Indonesia, Germany, and Cuba with 47.35%, 42.27%, and 85.93% of the market share, respectively. It is also the most popular desktop browser in other Asian and many African countries. According to Mozilla, as of December 2014 update, there were 500 million Firefox users around the world. History. The Firefox project began as an experimental branch of the Mozilla project by Dave Hyatt, Joe Hewitt and Blake Ross. They believed the commercial requirements of Netscape sponsorship and developer-driven feature creep compromised the utility of the Mozilla browser. To combat what they saw as the Mozilla Suite's software bloat, they created a standalone browser, with which they intended to replace the Mozilla Suite. On April 3, 2003, the Mozilla organization announced that they planned to change their focus from the Mozilla Suite to Firefox and Thunderbird. The community-driven SeaMonkey was formed and eventually replaced the Mozilla Application Suite in 2005. The Firefox project has undergone several name changes. It was originally titled Phoenix, which carried the implication of the mythical Firebird that rose triumphantly from the ashes of its dead predecessor, in this case from the ashes of Netscape Navigator after it had been killed off by Microsoft's Internet Explorer in the first browser war. Phoenix was renamed due to trademark issues with Phoenix Technologies. The replacement name, Firebird, provoked an intense response from the Firebird database software project. In response, the Mozilla Foundation stated that the browser would always bear the name Mozilla Firebird to avoid confusion. After further pressure, on February 9, 2004, Mozilla Firebird became Mozilla Firefox. The name Firefox was said to be derived from a nickname of the red panda, which became the mascot for the newly named project. For the abbreviation of Firefox, Mozilla prefers FX or FX, though it is often abbreviated as FF. The Firefox project went through many versions before the version 1.0 was released on November 9, 2004. Features include tabbed browsing, spell checking, incremental find, live bookmarking, smart bookmarks, a download manager, private browsing, location-aware browsing based on a Google service, and an integrated search system that uses Yahoo Search, which is a front-end of Microsoft's search engine Bing, by default in most localizations. Additionally, Firefox provides an environment for web developers in which they can use built-in tools, such as the Error Console or the DOM Inspector, or extensions, such as Firebug, and more recently there has been an integration feature with Pocket. Firefox Hello was an implementation, added in October 2014, allowing two users of Firefox to have a video call, with the extra feature of screen file sharing, by sending a link to each other. Functions can be added through add-ons created by third-party developers. Add-ons are primarily implemented by means of the XUL and XPCOM APIs, which allow them to directly access and manipulate much of the browser's internal functionality. On August 21, 2015, Firefox developers announced that due to planned changes to Firefox's internal operations, including the planned implementation of a new multi-process architecture codenamed Electrolysis, Firefox will adopt a new extension architecture known as Web Extensions. Web Extensions uses HTML and JavaScript APIs and is designed to be similar to the Google Chrome and Microsoft Edge extension systems, and run within a multi-process environment, but does not enable the same level of access to the browser. Solutions will be available to allow older add-ons to operate within the new architecture, but by 2017, XPCOM and XUL add-ons will no longer be supported. Firefox can have themes added to it, so users can experience Firefox in a more personal way. There are websites where users can create and download personalized themes, with their choice of colors and images. This can make the experience of using Firefox more unique and fun compared to other web browsers that do not offer custom-built themes. The Firefox add-on website also gives users the ability to add other applications such as games, ad blockers, screenshot apps and many other useful apps. Better source needed. Standards. Firefox implements many web standards, including HTML4, XML, XHTML, MathML, SVG 1.1, CSS, ECMAScript, DOM, XSLT, XPath, and APNG images with alpha transparency. Firefox also implements standards proposals created by the WHATWG such as client-side storage and canvas element. Firefox has passed the ACID2 standards compliance test since version 3.0. Mozilla had originally stated that they did not intend for Firefox to pass the ACID3 test fully because they believed that the SVG fonts part of the test had become outdated and irrelevant, due to WAF being agreed upon as a standard by all major browser makers. Because the SVG font tests were removed from the ACID3 test in September 2011, Firefox 4 and greater scored 100°. Firefox also implements a proprietary protocol from Google called Safe Browsing, used to exchange data related with phishing and malware protection. Since version 38 on Windows Vista and newer, Firefox supports the playback of video content protected by HTML5 encrypted media extensions. For security and privacy reasons, EME is implemented within a wrapper of open-source code that allows execution of a proprietary digital rights management module by Adobe systems. Adobe Primetime Content Decryption module. The DRM module runs within a sandbox environment to limit its access to the system, and provide it a randomized device ID to prevent services from uniquely identifying the device for tracking purposes. The DRM module, once it has been downloaded, is enabled and disabled in the same manner as other plugins. Upon the introduction of EME support, builds of Firefox on Windows were also introduced that exclude support for EME. Security. Firefox uses a sandbox security model, and limits scripts from accessing data from other websites based on the same origin policy. It also provides support for smart cards to web applications, for authentication purposes. It uses SSL (TLS) to protect communications with web servers using strong cryptography when using the HTTPS protocol. The freely available HTTPS Everywhere add-on enforces HTTPS, even if a regular HTTP URL is entered. Firefox now supports HTTP 2. The Mozilla Foundation offers a bug bounty to researchers who discover severe security holes in Firefox. Official guidelines for handling security vulnerabilities discourage early disclosure of vulnerabilities so as not to give potential attackers an advantage in creating exploits. Because Firefox generally has fewer publicly known security vulnerabilities than Internet Explorer, improved security is often cited as a reason to switch from Internet Explorer to Firefox. The Washington Post reported that exploit code for known critical security vulnerabilities in Internet Explorer was available for 284 days in 2006. In comparison, exploit code for known critical security vulnerabilities in Firefox was available for 9 days before Mozilla issued a patch to remedy the problem. A 2006 Symantec study showed that, although Firefox had surpassed other browsers in the number of vendor-confirmed vulnerabilities that year through September, these vulnerabilities were patched far more quickly than those found in other browsers. Firefox's vulnerabilities were fixed on average 1 day after the exploit code was made available, as compared to 9 days for Internet Explorer. Symantec later clarified their statement, saying that Firefox still had fewer security vulnerabilities than Internet Explorer, as counted by security researchers. In 2010, a study of the National Institute of Standards and Technology, based on data compiled from the National Vulnerability Database, Firefox was listed as the 5th most vulnerable desktop software, with Internet Explorer as the 8th, and Google Chrome as the 1st. InfoWorld has cited security experts saying that, as Firefox becomes more popular, more vulnerabilities will be found, a claim that Mitchell Baker, president of the Mozilla Foundation, has denied. There is this idea that market share alone will make you have more vulnerabilities. It is not relational at all, she said. In October 2009, Microsoft's security engineers acknowledged that Firefox was vulnerable to a security issue found in the Windows Presentation Foundation browser plugin since February of that year. A .NET Framework 3.5 SP1 Windows update had silently installed the vulnerable plugin into Firefox. This vulnerability has since been patched by Microsoft. As of February 11, 2011, Firefox 3.6 had no known unpatched security vulnerabilities according to Secunia. Internet Explorer 8 had 5 unpatched security vulnerabilities, the worst being rated less critical by Secunia. Mozilla claims that all patch vulnerabilities of Mozilla products are publicly listed. On January 28, 2013, Mozilla was recognized as the most trusted Internet company for privacy in 2012. This study was performed by the Ponemon Institute and was a result of a survey from more than 100,000 consumers in the United States. In February 2013, plans were announced for Firefox 22 to disable third-party cookies by default. However, the introduction of the feature was then delayed so Mozilla developers could collect and analyze data on the effect of blocking some third-party cookies. Mozilla also collaborated with Stanford University's Cookie Clearinghouse project to develop a blacklist and whitelist of sites that will be used in the filter. Version 23, released in August 2013, followed the lead of its competitors by blocking iframe, stylesheet, and script resources served from non-HTTPS servers embedded on HTTPS pages by default. Additionally, JavaScript could also no longer be disabled through Firefox's preferences, and JavaScript was automatically re-enabled for users who upgraded to 23 or higher with it disabled. The change was made due to its use across the majority of websites. The potential repercussions on non-experienced users who are unaware of its impact, along with the availability of extensions such as NoScript, which can disable JavaScript in a more controlled fashion. The following release added the ability to disable JavaScript through the developer tools for testing purposes. In January 2015, Torrent Freak reported that using Firefox when connected to the Internet using a VPN can be a serious security issue due to the browser's support for WebTC. Beginning with Firefox 44, all extensions will have to be signed by Mozilla to be used in release and beta versions of Firefox. Firefox 43 will block unsigned extensions, but allow enforcement of extension signing to be disabled. All extensions must be submitted to Mozilla add-ons and be subject to code analysis in order to be signed. Although extensions do not have to be listed on the service in order to be signed. Telemetry in Firefox versions prior to 7.0. An information bar appears on the browser's first start asking users whether they would like to send performance statistics, or telemetry, to Mozilla. It is enabled by default in development versions of Firefox, but not in release versions. According to Mozilla's privacy policy, these statistics are stored only in aggregate format, and the only personally identifiable information transmitted is the user's IP address. Localizations. Firefox is a widely localized web browser. The first official release in November 2004 was available in 24 different languages, and for 28 locales, including British English, American English, European Spanish, Argentine Spanish and Chinese in traditional Chinese characters, simplified Chinese characters. As of December 2015, update, currently supported 43.0.3 and 38.5.2 ESR versions are available in 89 locales. Platform availability. The desktop version of Firefox is available and supported for Windows, OS X and Linux, while Firefox for mobile is available for Android and Firefox OS. In September 2013, the Windows 8 touch interface, optimized for touchscreen use, was introduced on the Aurora release channel. However, the project has since been cancelled as of March 2014, citing a lack of user adoption of the beta versions. Unofficial ports. Firefox has also been ported to FreeBSD, NetBSD, OpenBSD, OpenIndiano, Skyus, and an unofficial rebranded version called Timberwolf has been available for Amiga OS 4. Firefox on Unix. Firefox is also ported to Solaris, Open Solaris by Oracle Solaris Desktop Beijing Team. Unofficial port of Firefox 3.6.x to IBM X and unofficial port of v1.7.x to Unixware. Firefox 3.5.9 is the last version to work on HP UX11i, as packaged by Hewlett-Packard. OS support. History view. Talk. Edit. Notes. Firefox for iOS is not listed in this table as its version numbers would be misleading, rather than Mozilla's Gecko. Green color denotes current Firefox versions, while the pink color is for older versions. FreeBSD provides a regularly updated port of Firefox. Firefox 3.5.9 is the last version to work on HP UX11i, as packaged by Hewlett-Packard. Firefox 2.0 has been ported to RISC OS. In March 2014, the Windows Store app version of Firefox was cancelled, although there is a beta release. CPU architectures. x86 family native 64-bit builds are officially supported on Linux, OS X and Windows. Mozilla made Firefox for 64-bit Linux a priority with the release of Firefox 4, labeling it as Tier 1 priority. Since being labeled Tier 1, Mozilla has been providing official 64-bit releases for its browser for Linux. Vendor-backed 64-bit support has existed for Linux distributions such as Novell SUSE Linux, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and Ubuntu prior to Mozilla's support of 64-bit. Even though vendors were faced with the challenge of having to turn off the 64-bit JIT compiler due to its instability prior to Firefox 4. The official releases of Firefox for OS X are universal builds that include both 32-bit and 64-bit versions of the browser in one package, and have been this way since Firefox 4. A typical browsing session uses a combination of the 64-bit browser process and a 32-bit plugin process. Because some popular plugins still have 32-bit, the 32-bit and 64-bit versions of Windows can be used to run 32-bit Firefox. In late 2012, Mozilla announced 64-bit Windows builds would be stopped but later reversed the decision. As of April 2015, update, 64-bit Windows builds are available as 38.0 beta and newer. 64-bit builds for Windows are officially supported as of November 2015 with the release of Firefox 42. All NP-API plugins except Adobe Flash Player and Silverlight are blacklisted and unsupported on 64-bit versions for Windows. Other CPU architectures besides x86, Firefox also supports other CPU architectures including ARMv7, ARMv6, Spark, etc. on different tiers. System requirements. Firefox source code may be compiled for various operating systems, however, officially distributed binaries are provided for the following. Firefox for mobile. Firefox for mobile, codenamed Fennec, is a web browser for smaller non-PC devices, mobile phones and PDAs. It was first released for the Nokia MIMO operating system, specifically the Nokia N900, on January 28, 2010. Version 4 for Android and MIMO was released on March 29, 2011. With the release of mobile version, the browser's version number was bumped from 2 to 4, synchronizing it with all future desktop releases of Firefox because the rendering engines used in both browsers are the same. Version 7 was the last release for MIMO on the N900. The user interface is completely redesigned and optimized for small screens. The controls are hidden away so that only the web content is shown on screen, and it uses touchscreen interaction methods. It includes the awesome bar, tabbed browsing, add-on support, password manager, location-aware browsing, and the ability to synchronize with the user's computer. Firefox browser using Firefox Sync. Firefox for iOS in April 2013. Then, Mozilla CEO Gary Kovacs said that Firefox would not come to iOS as long as Apple required the use of the WebKit layout engine to do so. However, in 2015 Mozilla announced it was moving forward with Firefox for iOS, with a preview release made available in New Zealand in September of that year. Firefox 31 running on Arch Linux. Firefox 30 on OS X Mavericks. Firefox 42.0 on OS X El Capitan. Firefox for mobile 39 on Android. Firefox on Firefox OS. Release history. Besides official releases, Mozilla provides development builds of Firefox in distribution channels named, in order of most to least stable, Beta, Developer Edition, and Nightly. As of December 15, 2015, update, Firefox 44 is in the Beta channel, Firefox 45 is in the Developer Edition channel, and Firefox 46 is in the Nightly channel. Extended Support Release. Firefox Extended Support Release, abbreviated to ESR, is a version of Firefox for organizations and other groups that need extended support for mass deployments. Each ESR release, based on the regular version released at the same time, is supported for approximately 1 year. Unlike the regular releases, ESRs are not updated with new features and performance enhancements every 6 weeks, but rather are updated with only high-risk reduction or high-impact security fixes or major stability fixes with point releases, until the end of the ESR cycle.